All right, cool. What up, everybody? Appreciate y'all being here. Let's go to bring up Rumble. All right, let's see what we got here real quick. Hold on just a second. Got a loudmouth McGee over there. All right, sweet. All right, we're on Rumble. All right, cool. Good. So what's up, everybody? Got Sean's in the house. Que paso, Sean? Stillwell, Kansas here. We got my man John. Look, my man John Gen X crushing. The guy crushes. In hindsight, 4 years before retirement is probably too soon to shift, but shifting 50% when I've worked all that great either. Oh, good. That sounds like you're saying the same thing twice. Algo flush. He's flushing the algorithm. I use this formula for retirement. I need 1,800 months for expenses. I'm debt free, including the house. I take 2,000 month expenses times 12, then multiply 25. Don't divide by freaking 0.04. Why? Don't. Why do you do that? Why do you do this, people? I just so I'm gonna go get my calculator. Hold on a second. What do you do my calculator? Oh my goodness. Hold on just a second. He just loves it. Oh my goodness. It's too cute. All right, so algo flush. You don't. What we do is you take 24,000 times divide by 0.05, and you need 480. All right. So we're saying we need 24,000 a year is what we need. All right. We say we'll divide that by 0.05. That's how you do it. That figures out your nut that you need right there. If you're doing a 4% rule, which I literally don't understand this. I don't. I get it. We had Bill Bengen. I get that. Bill Bengen has changed his 4% rule. But not only that, guess what? The Trinity study wasn't 4%. And that doesn't include, do we need to bring up FireCalc again? I think we do, actually. Let's bring up FireCalc. All right, Jeremy's here. All right, cool. So just on had a guy on my YouTube channel. I just want to comment real quick. So on my video I did for Jeremy, oops, hold on a second. The guy commented, he goes, oops, hold on a second. I just posted a video about AI to text. That AI text to video, that is freaking crazy. It's awesome. I like it. I'm a big fan. But all right. So I posted a video about my man Jeremy. My video was saying, dude, Jeremy's like, I'm 35. When should I go to a more conservative portfolio? I said, the issue is if you're all in stocks, dude, and you get hit 57%, at the same time you're losing your job, at the same time the debt is accumulated, you're freaking SOL. You need some liquidity. That's just a fact. How much liquidity? 2 years. I don't know. I mean, I without question, 2 years. Liquidity would be short-term bonds, Ginnie Mae's, things of that nature. You got to have some. So this guy comments, and I just lately he's been like really just ripping me a new one. I said, I didn't get. I'm like, what's going on with this guy? It's weird. And it's just kind of frustrating. It's like, what? Why? It's weird. So he comments. 1 second. Hell no! You have a lifetime of savings ahead of you. That's going to double many times over based on historic facts, histrionics. I don't know why he's saying histrionic facts. I'm sitting there thinking, I can't believe this. You have a lifetime, your money is going to double many times over based on history. Facts. He said history, facts. I'm like, it boggles my mind. I'm sitting there thinking, and Jeremy, to his credit, because he's wiser beyond his years, unlike this guy, he says, historical returns has very little, if any, bearing on future returns. Man, nothing made my heart sing more than that. Jeremy, our crazy guy from Maine who likes to fix cars. All right. He said, a 35-year-old young man who's figuring his way out in this world. He told this older guy, historical returns have very little bearing on future returns. And yet the other guy said, your money is going to double based on historical facts. facts. You cannot say facts and apply that to the future. You cannot do that. It's insane to me. Anyway, so then I said, this guy's name's Kevin. I said, idea for you, Kevin. Because you disagree with me on every video, why don't you just start your own channel? And he says, no, seems like just lately I disagree with you. Compared to your earlier videos, your stance has literally changed on everything. I don't know if it's political or just something else. Listen, I'm older than you, and from what you mentioned in the past videos, I have accumulated more wealth and maybe should do a channel. Because here we go. I'm wealthier than you, thus I have a better knowledge of this stuff. And I whatever. Okay, it's funny. But it's you that have changed. Yeah, I have. 100%. I have changed. As the situation dictates, I change with it. That's what we do in the military. Situation dictates. Situation dictates. To be so damn stubborn that you're button. I mean, even Einstein, who I don't like, but even Einstein said it's literal insanity to continue the same strategy and always have failure. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. And this guy's like, it's you who have changed. It's not me, it's you. I said, yeah. Maybe I should move on because clearly this 30-year-old should stay in aggressive funds. You even sold during the low a while back. Long-time listener disappointed on your new views. I even sold on the low. I don't know what he's talking about there. I didn't sell on the low. I literally no clue what he's talking about. And then I said, yeah, I have changed. When interest rates reward you for having liquidity, it's a whole different ballgame. And that's a fact. And my political views have changed. What I'm saying, I'm no longer of the red blue paradigm anymore, the false dichotomy. I'm still on the Republican side. But listen, man, when I follow these guys, look, the Democrats are insane, but the Republicans, let's pretend that there's any sense of small government. There isn't any sense of small. The Republican Party and all supposed quasi-libertarians. I mean, I read Insta Pundit every day, and it's always, we need more money for the moon. We need more money for the defense. We got to fight Russia over there for the. I'm just like, dude, it's the same. Oh, here comes a big baby, and we need more money for the CDC. We need no more money for FDA. Need more money for NIH. We need more money. I said, you guys aren't small government, dude, and I am 100% small government. And so if we're going to pretend we're small government and yet we're advocating big government on these things over here, then what's the point? It's actually boring, to be honest. And once you get beyond the political dichotomy of the false dichotomy of red versus blue, you're like, it just doesn't bother you anymore. Like I literally don't pay any attention. I mean, I chuckle at Fetterman and freaking Mitch McConnell. I literally don't care anymore. It's funny. I mean, I hope the Republicans win. I'm glad they won the House of Representatives. I wish they would have won the Senate. It wouldn't have mattered much, frankly. But I still like the Republicans more than the Democrats. But if you think I'm a Republican fanboy, you're nuts. And I probably won't even vote for DeSantis, to be honest with you, because I don't trust that guy anymore. And that loses people, subscribers, because a lot of people say, "Oh, I want the old Josh back." Well, the old Josh doesn't exist. The old Josh is gone because the situation changes. And how people don't see that after COVID? I'm like, dude, did you not just see what happened these last 3 years? Do you not see what so many Republicans went along with it? The stupid lady in Alabama, Mike DeWine, Charlie Baker, Larry Hogan, hell, even freaking a bunch of freaking Ducey, the guy from freaking Greg Abbott. I mean, other than Kemp, Kristi Noem, and DeSantis, the vast majority of Republican governors went along with it. Crazy, man. Anyway, so the point being with Algo Flush is that we don't. All right, that's what I want to do. I want to go to FireCalc. All right, so we want to. I gotta do a video on that. So show me the evidence of the 4% rule in reality, i.e., your expenditures go up each and every year with inflation. Show me the evidence. And if there isn't any evidence, why do we keep perpetrating this, quote, rule? It doesn't make sense. Right on, Jeremy. Cool. It doesn't make sense, dude. So I'm going to show you. And we're going to go back. I'm going to create an award called the Ty Bernicki Award. Because Ty Bernicki is a guy who brought to my attention in 2005 in a Journal for Financial Planning through the FPA, which I no longer affiliate with because they started the whole Marxist crap on the CRT back in 2015. Anyway, They used to be a righteous mag, and now they suck. Anyway, so the point being, Ty Bernick had written an article in 2005 talking about in reality retirement. So we're going to look at firecalc.com. There we go. And I tell you, man, so many people, they follow the 4% rule because of FIRE movement, because it's just what everybody, it's a nice, easy number. All right, so what we got right here, this is firecalc.com, and I love Firecalc. And what we're going to do here, to bring back the longevity. Oh, no, I bet this is going to be a dead link. Let's see, hold on a second. Because this bank, that's too bad. That longevity calculator that Vanguard used to have was awesome, and they got rid of it. I don't know why. All right, so anyway, we're going to go here. So we're going to go over to spending models. All right. Bernicki's reality retirement plan. That guy freaking crushes. I emailed him a couple of times, and he's always polite to me. Emailed me back. He wasn't looking for notoriety or anything like that. He actually is a typical northern Midwestern guy from Wisconsin, just kind of quiet. I don't want to say shy, but just kind of like, I keep my head down, I keep my nose clean, I just move forward. I get it, man. I'm not like that. I'm freaking just, that's not me. I'm like, dude, you got to start busting some balls here, man, because a lot of people are misled by the financial media, and when they're being misled, that means they're hurting themselves by not thinking they have the ability to retire. Right on. So Jeremy's sharing my videos. Appreciate that, man. That's fantastic. So we're gonna go to Firecalc. Bernanke's reality retirement planning, a new paradigm for old science, describes extensive research showing. Oh, hey, you want to get on? Oh, boo, boo! My wife didn't want to get on. You know why? Because my wife's mad. Because see this? It's my left hand. Notice there's nothing here where there's been something there for 24 years. Nothing there. My wife is mad because I was trying to hook up with another lady, so I took my ring off and I misplaced it. I was playing basketball with Liam yesterday, and normally I take my ring off because it falls off my finger. And the day before we were playing basketball, and I did not take it off. I said, okay. But I remember I was going up for a shot. I said, I probably should take this off. I could kind of feel it being loose. I said, I'll do it later. Anyway, so I was driving underneath the basket. You know what I'm saying? I was driving underneath the baseline, and I went up for a left-hand scoop shot, and the wing went flying off my finger and into where we had this like holly tree line with all these leaves and stuff and all these rocks, for landscape. And oh man, I was out there for probably 3 hours in the night, in the day, looking with a flashlight, cutting. I couldn't find it. It's gone. I said, damn, we had that ring since 1999, dudes. It's gone. Oh man, right? You like that, LD Murray? And so my wife, she goes, I know you're trying to hook up with chicks. I hear you talk about the Filipino women that Jeremy and CB and Prairie Mark are talking about. I know you think so. She's like, hey, that's what you want. Go for it there, guy. I always say, man, if you die, what am I going to do? She goes, you need to get married. I said, really? She goes, yeah, you need to get married. That's my wife. She goes, you need to get married if I die. I said, oh, okay. What's that about? And I said, well, what happens if I die? She goes, I will never get married again. Let's say quick prayers. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for our wives and our loved ones. I'm just so grateful for being married to my wife. Oh, man. 24 years, man. Nuts. Lord, I pray for those out there. Lady I talked to today, her husband fell into bad ways and divorced her after many, many years. I pray for women and men like that who wake up one day and find they're alone because their significant spouses, their significant others fell astray, and did not maintain the vows we say before your very name. May they find happiness, hopefully in other people on this earth through their church group, through employment. But either way, maybe they always turn to you anyway, because at the end of the day, you're is what matters. Our focus needs to be with you. And we just pray for those who are lonely. as they get older and get lonely. We just pray that they don't get better, that they turn to you, and hopefully, God, you just continue to guide them as you've always done, and you will continue to do so throughout history as you see fit. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. All right, so yeah, it kind of pissed me off. This lady, married for a long, long time. So let me guess. Husband met his old high school fling on Facebook. Yep, exactly what it was. So man, I've heard that story. Yeah, metal detector, right, man? I need a metal detector, but we don't have one. So if I heard that story once, I heard it a million times, dude. Sucks. All right, let's go back to fire calculator. Anyway, so all right. Fire calc. All right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use Bernicki's retirement plan. All right, and so we're gonna show you here. So let me just go back here real quick. So we got, for simplicity, we're gonna do 40,000 a year. We're gonna do $1 million just so we can get a gauge of the 4%, that $1 million, and we're gonna hit submit. Oh, now we gotta go to. All right, actually, there we go. All right, so now we gotta go to our portfolio. We'll just do 60-40. Let's see. We're going to do a 60-40 portfolio right there. Yeah. All right, 60-40. All right. And we'll do 5-year treasury. All right, submit. All right, good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stop that screen and we're going to go to a different one. All right. We're going to go to this guy right here. Now this looks at historical numbers, which is a problem. I'm not gonna lie, that's a problem. Right. But it goes back to 1871, which I like. And so we run. Can y'all see this? Yeah. Okay. So they run 122 possible 30-year periods. Now I don't like that because I'm going to show you, because we're running rolling periods. So we have 122 rolling 30-year periods. But the problem with that is, if you look at 1/3, so we got 1 through 30, 2 through 31, 3 through 32. Let me just stop this again real quick. Hold on a second. All right, so this rolling period is identical to this, except by 1 year. That's it, man. All right, so literally, these have every single thing is the same except 1 year, which is this year 31. So there's a 29 divided by 30. There's a 96.6% similar. You can almost call it like a beta if you want, but they're the same. 96.6% is literally the identical stuff. So what might be rolling is certainly not unique. All right, that's just not. That's why it's just not. It's you can't use that, man. I mean, people do all the time. It drives up the wall. And I learned that from my man Michael Edison, actually, who I just actually emailed yesterday because he wrote an interesting article on the insanity of the fear of nuclear power, and I appreciate that because Michael used to be kind of a big greenie. Big greenie. He used to drive me crazy. And I used to email him back in 2008. Said, dude, what the hell? Why do you fall for these lies of the green tyrants? He goes, well, why would they lie? Because they get paid to lie, dude. Anyway, so this one has a 96% similarity to that. Then this one has 28 divided by 30. Has a 93% similarity. So of 3 of those 122 rolling periods right there alone, there's still more than 90% similarities. So that's just not enough to, hey, I got $20. Chad Ducey. Oh, man. Hold on a second. Hey, babe. So my man Chad just gave me $20 for a new ring or a new doghouse. Thanks, Chad. You're the man. Charlotte didn't find it as funny as I did, but that's all good, man. All good. Anyway, so those three rolling periods, they're literally the same well over 90% of the time. It's just not statistically relevant, if that makes sense. So anyway, so the point being is that's my drawback. So let's go back to FireCalc, because it's just, you're not going to have, of these 122 30-year rolling periods, you're really only going to have 4 unique times. That's it. 4 unique where everything is unique from the last. And so it's not statistically relevant. But we'll go with it because I mean that's what we got to go with. What are they doing over there, big guy? You looking out the window? Anyway, so in this case, here's a 4% rule. It failed. How many times this failed? It failed 4 cycles, 4 out of the 122. 4 cycles out of the 122. So at a success rate of 96.7%. All right. Your portfolio would have failed. The lowest and highest portfolio balance at the end of your retirement, you would have run out of money 4 times. The lowest would have been negative 240. You would have had 4.8 million at the end of the highest, and then your average. I don't think it's you're saying your average 1.34 million. All right, but you still fail 4 out of times, and I like that. It's not it's not realistic because you're using historical rates of return. You got 122 possible 30-year rolling periods. But anyway, so what we're going to do instead, so just give an example. So now we're going to go back and we're going to show you, I'm going to do a 5%. I'm going to do the, hold on just a second. We're going to change the spending model. You can't see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to go real quick. And the spending model is that your expenses drop by 2 to 3% each year, starting at age 56 and until you're 76. So you're going to spend your expenditures are going to drop until you're 76 years old. And now you see we have 100% probability of success. All right. Now, again, that's a 60-40 portfolio. That's what Bengen made his thing on, which B doesn't make. And now our average money left over is 2.55 million. All right. So we can play this to a blue in the face. The issue is, again, I just said that my problem is historical rates of return and using the rolling period. So I don't like that. So what we want to do here instead, am I still on here? Yeah, okay, cool. So what we're going to do instead is we like to do you got to create your own Monte Carlo scenario. In your Monte Carlo scenario would say what I use a 5, I can't remember. The lady I was working today was a 50-50 portfolio. 4.8% was our average rate of return with a 8.4% standard deviation. I can't remember. And I don't have it in front of me, so I can't remember how to do it. However, what I'd like to do instead of doing that is we're going to backtest this with starting in 2000, because this is literally right here, starting in 2000. We're going to backtest it because in 2000 we had a down market, 2000, 2001, 2002, a major bear market, another bear market 2007, 8 through 9, and then another bear market last year, on top of significant close to bear markets in 2008, Q4 2018, and then Q1 2020, Q3 2011 was close. Something 2015 was close. I can't remember what quarter. I want to say that's Q2 2015. Those weren't bear enough markets, though. Those are just kind of common run-of-the-mill down markets. But Q3 2011 was pretty close to a bear market, but it wasn't. But anyways, so I want to show you. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to Portfolio Visualizer. And I'm going to throw up, hold on just a second. I'm going to throw up that. I want to show you guys something here real quick. What we're going to do is we're going to show you, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on a second. Coronavirus got me. So we're going to run these 3 funds. We've got the Vanguard Balance Fund, and I'm going to run a Dodge and Cox fund later. My man James asked me to do that one. I want to run the Franklin Income Fund. I'm a big fan. I want to run we already did the Fidelity Balanced, not the Contra. What's the other one? The Fidelity Balanced, not the Contra Fund. I forgot. There's another Fidelity Fund. Fidelity Balanced, but I can't remember. And then this is S&P 500. So we got S&P 500, Ginnie Mae, and Vanguard Balance Fund. All right. So I just want to show you how the portfolios did. All right. So if you look at the portfolios, you can see the compounded annual growth rate is actually pretty low relative to 2000. This is perfect because compounded annual growth rate with a standard deviation of 15.9. All right. So what that means is we say, look, our expected rate of returns, we'll say 6. Now he wants to go outside. And if we look at compounded annual growth rate, there we go. 6.26, what we'd do is we say, okay, we would take our standard deviation of 15.49. So I'd see this is good. This is exactly what I like about the last 20 years because it gives us some real world experience without over the top performance, if that makes sense. And low interest rates, the whole thing. So we're going to say 6.25 with a standard deviation of 15.5. All right, so let's stop sharing. This is real world stuff here, by the way. All right, so what we're going to do here, all right, see what we got going on over here. All right, Rumble, how we doing on Rumble? All right, cool. Good. How we doing on everything else? Good. All right, sweet. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say 6.25, that's S&P 500, 15.5, that's our standard deviation. And we know what that means is we take our standard deviation, we times that by 3, 15.5 times 3, that's 46.5. So we go plus minus 46.5. So in this case, on any given year, this portfolio could be down 40.25%. Forward looking, which is what I like. It could also be up, was that 52.75%. Right. So this S&P 500. All right. So in any given year, that could happen within not 3 standard deviations. 3. So I think it's 99.8% of those numbers that we're using. That's pretty good, dude. I like that a lot. That's pretty close to what I'm using. I'm actually using a little bit higher standard deviation and a little bit lower rate of return. So, but we're pretty close. So in the last 23 years gives us great experience. We have lots we can use for that, for projections going forward, for sure. I hope this makes sense. So I'm very happy with that because we've really, the aughts really eliminated what happened in the teens. So they leveled it off quite a bit. And then we had low interest rates. We had a big bear market in bonds. A lot of positive stuff in that regard. So it's good stuff. So let's go back to sharing. And so this is a back test, all right? And we're using, it's just one. It's one, evidence, if you will. So it's not statistically, you can't say, oh my goodness. But given that we have a low compound annual growth rate, a high standard deviation, now check this out. The worst year we had was in 2008, which was lower than what our model would suggest, which is good. We want that, man. The worst year we had was in 2008, which is lower than what our model suggests. Now, our max drawdown right there is when we start pulling money out. We'll go into that here in a little bit. But remember, the S&P 500 was down 57% from October 1, 2007 to March 9th of 2009. Now, they don't get to the exact dates in terms of the day. They get to the end of the month. So they're a little bit less than our real max drawdown was 57%. That's pretty significant. That's where going back to that guy's email. I'm like, dude, if you got no liquidity and you're down 57%, your goose is cooked, man. My man Andrew, and I don't know if he's on here. I hope he is, but that guy crushes from Ohio. He said the same thing. He's like, thank God my wife was working. If my wife wasn't working, I'd be cooked because the same thing happened to him. Dude, I'm sitting there thinking, do people not remember how bad 2000? I'm literally, and the only thing I could possibly think is that they didn't go through any downside. They were just hummed along. Maybe they had a government job. I don't know. But in the real world where people were getting laid off like crazy, real estate markets were getting hammered, your investment markets were getting hammered. 2008 was, really from 2006 through 2010. That was our Great Depression, man. And, for never cross that bridge again. Never. If you haven't learned from it, the only thing I possibly think is if you didn't get burned, you know how it hurts. And you're willing to freaking touch the pan because you haven't got burned. I literally can't imagine that someone would sit there and say, keep investing in aggressive stocks because you'll make your money hand over hand for the next 20 years or 30 years. Factually, now, once your liquidity is covered, yeah, I got no qualm with that. But I guess people's experiences are different. Maybe just also being being raised poor in Maine, where believe it or not, it gets cold. Maybe that just, and then going through 2008 with my wife and 4 kids, it humbled me. There's no other way around it. I guess that's probably a lack of being humbled. Some of these guys. It's anyway, and I see it all the time. When I talk about annuities, you're ever gonna get killed in an annuity. I'm like, oh man, I guess it's weird, man. Like, do people not remember? I almost got to think, when everyone says, oh, my grandma was so, destroyed by the Great Depression, she never went in the markets again. Look how much she missed out. I said, yeah, but she didn't know that. And you don't know that either, as we sit here today. In fact, I would make an argument that the days of the easy money growing are gone. The globalization has already taken its course, dude. You know what I'm saying? The destruction of unions has already taken its course. Now we have, I mean, hell. I was talking to a guy just the other day down in Texas. He goes, yeah, man, like when Ford started laying off all these people, and then they realized no one could afford their cars anymore because they didn't have the paychecks to buy their own cars they were selling because they started laying off all these people. All right, so here's the S&P 500 at a compound annual growth rate of 6.25. Ginnie Mae 3.7 was down. Where's down here 10.82, and I bet that was in 2022. Yeah, right there, 2022. That's nuts. Ginnie Mae never came anywhere near that. That's how bad it was in 2022. And then this was 22% again for the balance index. All right, so everybody with me so far on this? Let me just go over this and we'll see what else you all have to say. Yeah, all right, good. Everyone kosher pudding. Good. All right. Sweet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see what if we took 5,000 a year out, adjusted for inflation. Withdraw fixed amount, 5,000. It says fixed percentage. It doesn't. You could do 5%. 5,000 a year adjusted for inflation, 5%. We don't. What if we watch this? If we do withdraw fixed percent, it doesn't adjust for inflation. It's just 5% of the portfolio value. Look, I don't believe that you're going to have inflation adjusted, but I like to show that because I think it's the worst case scenario. So we can do a 5% fixed, which guarantees we'll never run out of money. But I don't like that. I like 5% fixed amount, inflation adjusted. You see that? So watch, inflation adjustment, watch. Fixed percent, gone. See how that left? Withdraw fixed amount, back. So we're doing 5,000 a year, which is 5% adjusted for inflation. And then we're going to hit annualized portfolio. And you're going to know something here. It stops in 2016, just because, like I said today, it's the S&P 500 lost right there. It dropped off. Ginnie Mae was up here. Ginnie Mae lasted. Ginnie Mae flipping lasted. Because it didn't get smoked right here. Look, here's the balance index was down from 2000 to 2003 to 40 to $70,000, where Ginnie Mae was up. All right, here's Ginnie Mae again. Now, the interesting thing was, we all thought, that this proved that government bonds, when everything is going to hell in a handbasket, the only thing non-correlated is government bonds. Everyone will flee to government bonds. Until last year, that didn't happen. So we had dividend stocks lasted right here. They only got smoked in 2002. So growth stocks got killed, but dividend stocks did not. So come 2006, everyone's like, dividend stocks will be the reprieve from a market decline. Dividend stocks got killed in 2008. A lot of banks paid dividends. Right? So growth stocks got killed, dividend stocks got killed. Government bonds still did great. Government bonds. 2022 comes around, dividend stocks, government bonds, and growth stocks all got crunched. That's what I'm saying. It's like you just don't know what the next bear market is going to do. You think you know until you don't. That's why all these backdating and backtesting stuff and all these various strategies on the French FAMA 3, 5, 7 factor models is just so freaking stupid, because you don't know until it hits. And you're like, oh man, how come I didn't see that coming? But anyway, so you can see that government bonds got smoked. But okay, they got smoked. They're down. What we're right here. They got where they were down. Oh wait, right here. Was what did we say? 10% or something like that? It wasn't showing there. So worst drawdown right there is that's a 26% when you had no interest rates and you're still pulling 5% a year out. But anyway, So the worst year was in 2022, where the Ginnie Mae was down about 12%. Anyway, so the point being is that we actually lost money by taking the compounded annual growth rate. We started with $100,000. We ended with 87,000, which means we had a negative. Oh, that's only to 2016. Excuse me. We got to get rid of the S&P 500. I keep forgetting to do that. That stopped in 2016 because I want to go to 2022. There we go. So the worst year for Ginnie Mae was in 2022, right here. And we'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, right there, 10.82. All right, so we got smoked in Ginnie Mae in 10.82, but even that's the worst that we get. I'm okay with that. So if that's the worst that happens for this liquidity right here, that I'm very comfortable with that. Now, what's happening here is because the interest rates are now low in 2010 and low, now you're just dipping into your principal. I mean, it saved you right here, but now because you're not getting paid any, you're basically pulling 5% a year out, and you're only getting 2% interest. You're dipping into your principal. So now you're sitting at 42,000 at the end of 2020, basically 2022, which means your compounded annual growth rate is you started $100,000 in, you took $42,000, you have 42,000 left. And so that's a negative 3.6% compounded annual growth rate because you're pulling out more than the interest that's providing you. So you can't just be stuck in a Ginnie Mae for the rest of your life either. That's the drawback, because if the interest rates are low and your amount you're pulling out is higher, inherently you're dipping in principal. I don't have any problem with that, frankly. The whole point about saving is to spend it later on, which means you might have to take out principal. But again, this is a 5% distribution. And after 23 years, even with the worst market we had ever in bond funds in 2022, and two significant down markets in 2000, 2001 and 2, and 2007, 8, 9, we are still sitting on $42,000 in Ginnie Mae, whereas the balance fund is only at $28,000. Pretty interesting, huh? So let's look at. I want to throw in the Wellington fund. I'm actually curious to Wellington, because Wellington is not a balance. It's a balance fund, but it's not balanced like the Vanguard balance fund is, because Vanguard balance is just basically large cap stocks, index, and intermediate bonds essentially. So let's see what the Wellington did over the time frame. And the Wellington actually outperformed the balance fund. So, yeah, that's pretty significant. Look at that. Yeah, the Wellington greatly outperformed the balance fund. That's the balance fund in blue, Ginnie Mae in red. I mean, look at the Wellington crushed. No other way around that. So that's the issue. That was why I like Wellington. But we'll get into that here in just a second. So let's swap out the balance fund with the. So we know the balance fund didn't really even hold a candle to Wellington, not even close. So we'll swap it out with VWINX, and we'll see what VWINX did relative to the other two guys. Yeah, so I mean, there's Wellesley and look at that. It's just Wellesley and Wellington were two peas in the pod. It's just there's no two ways around that. All right, so here's Ginnie Mae. You start with $100,000. You end with 42,000. Your compounded annual growth rate was negative 3.62. Inherently, that's the way it's going to be because the interest rates are low. No other way around that. As interest rates go higher, that will change. Now the problem is we don't know if they're going to stay. We don't know. We don't know where the interest rate cycle is going to be. We just don't know. That's why you can't just have everything in a bond fund. You have to have bonds predominantly if you're retirement, just to make sure you avoid. Well, this doesn't really show us so much, but you avoid the 2000, the aughts essentially. Let's see here. Time-weighted returns. These are time-weighted returns, and they tell off the top of my head. We go to TW. I can't remember exactly what TRR is. Time-weighted. We'll come down here. It's where your money coming in. Time-weighted rate of return is a measure of the compound annual growth rate. It's calculated from the holding period returns. That's what it is. Will not be impacted by cash flows. Yeah, so time-weighted returns are just if you put your money in and you woke up 5 years from now, what's it worth? It doesn't matter because we're talking cash flows. So time-weighted returns are just what did your portfolio do over that time frame. So in this case, the time-weighted returns for Wellington was 6.72, for Ginnie Mae was 3.7, and for Wellesley it was 7.45. All right, so that's your time-weighted returns. But it doesn't matter because we're pulling money out. We don't care about the time-weighted returns. We care about the compound annual growth rate. I can't remember what MW. I forgot all this stuff. MWRR. Internal rate of return taken into account of cash flow. This is discount rate at which the present value of cash flow equals the present value. That doesn't make sense to me. This is the discount rate at which the present value of cash inflows equal the present value of cash outflows. Right. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I'm sure we could look it up. The only thing I care about is time weighted return. Doesn't matter. That's how much I put in today. What's it worth 5, 10, 15, 20 years now? This is what matters to me. How much are my cash flows relative to my initial investment right there? All right. That's what matters to me. And you can see when you factor in the 5% withdrawals, Wellesley gave a 2.15% compound annual growth rate, Wellington 1.83, and they both survived the 2000, 2001, and 2002 onslaught. They both got crunched a little bit, as you can see here. Here is what's number one here? Yeah, here's Wellesley right here. Got crushed by 10% in 2008. Wellington got crushed 22% in 2008. But from October to March, Wellington was down 37%. Again, this only shows 32 because it's not including March and it's not including October. Whereas Wellesley was down basically 20%. So they both got crunched in those years, but a hell of a lot better than being down 57% in the S&P 500. I'll tell you that right now. So that was pretty attractive to me. But I'm just, like I said, my problem is, let me show you, with Wellington and Wellesley, is I'm going to show you right here. I don't think they're running the same shop they used to. I think who's running Wellesley and Wellington are going to lead it to bad places here, man. All right, so Jeremy says, how would a total stock market versus a, we'll look, Jeremy. The interest, remember, the total stock index, 70% of the total stock index is the S&P 500. Just always remember that, guys. You're going to add some mid caps and small caps, but 70% is the S&P 500. So we can compare. But the issue I have with Wellington and Wellesley now is the Wellington Management Company has gone woke. And when you go woke, you go broke. Here's why woke Frisco Fed chief missed Silicon Valley Bank's warning signs. And what a beautiful specimen of whatever the hell's happening out there anymore. Wokeness has replaced competence and merit across the banking sector. And San Francisco chief Mary Daly is a poster child of the pernicious trend. The protege of Janet Yellen, a shortlist candidate for Federal Reserve vice chair. She was supposed to be, I hope to never see the light of day now. She was supposed to be supervising Silicon Valley Bank, but is apparently pushing politics and pushing woke agendas to regulate rogue banks like SVB, the second biggest bank failure on record. She had other priorities: climate change, LGBT, 57 flavors, inequities between blacks and whites, Black Lives Matter, social justice, or bio-gushes. She's committed to understanding the economic and financial risk of climate change and inequities. Never mind the more existential threat of banks in her jurisdiction amassing mortgage bonds with long maturities that expose investors to greater interest rate risk. In a recent LinkedIn post, she appears sidetracked by racial justice. What black voices have I lifted up today? What black voices? How is that not racist? I'm going to look at anyone who's black and say, how can I lift up your voice? Equity and inclusion begins with me. And hashtag the crackhead himself, George Floyd. She also posted selfies with local Black Lives Matter activists. I'm going to go find my black friend and post selfies on to show that I'm not racist. Meanwhile, she missed all the warning signs of runaway inflation. In 2021, she goes, I'm not thinking that we have unwanted inflation around the corner. I don't think it's a risk. Earlier last year, she denied the economy was suffering from inflation. That's not what I see. She also didn't see the need for hiking interest rates. At least she didn't that because she knew what happened to freaking Silicon Valley Bank. I don't feel the pain of inflation anymore, she said. Well, she's making it 422. I'm not immune to gas prices rising, but I don't find myself in a space where I have to make trade-offs because I have enough, and many Americans have enough. How's that lifting black voices? From her policy papers, speeches, and interviews, it's clear that Daly thinks the Fed's core mission isn't controlling inflation, but achieving full employment for minorities, essentially. Anyway, so she's a freaking clown. So now we go to Wellington. Homepage, and we're going to see the same freaking crap. And you're starting to say to yourself, are they living on, mean, look at these two freaking fantastic, lovely ladies here. And they got their little smirks on their face. She's got her little shawl thing. And, she's like, look, dude, I'm woman, hear me roar. Different kind of investment partner. Just that believes today's independent thinker. See, I don't want a different kind of investment partner. I want the old Wellington back. Of what's the guy's name? Morgan. I forgot the guy's first name. Morgan. That's where they had the Morgan Fund from Wellington, from Bogle. You know what I'm saying? Bogle. Guys, I forgot the guy's name from Morgan, who was one of the initial founders of Wellington Investment Management Company. That's who I want back. I don't want these people here because they're nuts. And they suck, and they got my money. And I don't want them managing my money because I know what happens when you go woke. Because these guys are going to be fine if they ruin your portfolio. They don't care. They're going to be fine. And then we got sustainability, climate leadership, stewardship, and ESG integration, investment solutions for sustainability. Why invest sustainably? Why Wellington? Because we're the leaders. And we're going to go about us. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Great. Our culture. It's great. So these guys are freaking ass clowns. And we got these people right here. There's Carolina San Martin, director of ESG research. I mean, they're literally focusing equity portfolio manager. In this day and age, I don't know if equity means stocks or if it means the equivalent of anti-whiteness. Who knows anymore? So we got equity portfolio manager, got ESG research, all chicks, head of sustainable investments. None of these people are freaking worth the time of the day. I don't want them to touch my money because I don't want woke people touching my money. You see what I'm saying? So they're living off and here's this guy right here. He discussed how running marathons and being part of Wellington provides his team with a real edge. Yeah, okay. Global diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's all over the front page. Their impact award for environmental finance. Every asset manager wants more alternatives. I don't want more alts. 550 women leading hedge funds. All right, here we got this chick, Wellington CEO, Jean. Oh, Jean. So she's the CEO. I want the old Wellington back. Oh, but Josh, that sounds like you're sexist, racist. No, I want people who want to manage my money so we don't go broke because they're going woke. That's what I want. I don't want to live off the laurels of old the Morgans of the world, the freaking John Bogles of the world. So these new freaking whippersnappers can ruin it, and they all got money coming out of their ears, dude. I don't have money coming out of my ears. To go back to that guy I was talking about earlier today, Kevin, he goes, I'm older than you. I got more money than you. So maybe I should do a YouTube channel because you suck, Josh. You've changed. Yeah, I'm really readily happy to admit that, dude. I'm really happy to admit that. I don't have tons of money. I don't want to be lost to freaking people like Wellington when they've gone woke. You see what I'm saying? So using the old Wellington stuff and seeing it now, I'm like, yeah, that scares the living bejesus out of me if this is all I got. If this is all I got, I can't have woke people losing it. Who's going to bail old Josh out? Nobody. I got no political connections. I'm white, dude. I'm a white guy. I'm straight. I got kids. My wife stays home. I follow Jesus. I got nothing going for me. No one's going to be sitting there thinking, I'm a veteran, and I hate veterans. No one's going to be sitting there saying, but Josh, and I'm pretty good looking. Let's just admit that. So I'm not in a wheelchair. I got my teeth, pearly yellows. You know what I'm saying? But no one's going to sit there and say, let's give Josh a handout. So no. I don't expect a handout. I don't want a handout, and I ain't going to get it anyway. I can't afford woke people managing my money. I hope that makes sense. Now, if you're rich, you can. You don't care. Some guy invested $3 billion in like freaking Virgin Galactic or something like that, or some SpaceX thing that's supposed to get us to the moon in 2023. It's not going to happen. It's just stupid. I'm like, yeah, if you got $3 billion because you were up to no good and nefarious deeds to get all that money, more power to you. You can invest in Wellington all day long. I don't have that kind of scratch. I can't afford it. I can't afford these idiots, dude. So if I can't afford it, we got to look at alternatives. Sadly, the Vanguard Balance Fund did not provide us a good alternative to Wellington. It just did not. It did not provide a good alternative to Wellesley. It just did not. So we're going to have to kind of come up with our own alternative. You see what I'm saying? The own alternative, I don't know yet. That's what I'm looking at is what would it be? Would it be index funds? Here's a problem with index funds. You're still giving your proxy votes to Vanguard. And let's look at Vanguard's gotten a little bit better lately. So I do give them credit. I was talking to a guy today, my man Kelly, who crushes, who had to put his dog down. Sad, man. I said, dude, I know, man. Putting your dog down is the worst. But we don't want woke stuff, but it's like, it seems like Vanguard has actually softened their stance a little bit here. And so here's the Vanguard web page, homepage. Guiding you on your journey. I'm sure there's going to be DEI crap in here. I do like how they're saying made up of more than 30 million investors. Okay, that's good. I guarantee it's going to be DEI crap, guarantee, but it doesn't jump out at you right out the gate, which makes me very happy. So, what we want to do here, and just to hit me while I'm talking. See, look at that. Even here, they don't have DEI. That's good, dude. That's good. See, Vanguard seems to be feeling the pain. I mean, I might be wishful thinking. Let's see why Vanguard. But it seems at least they're not put on the front page like all these other clowns are. There we go. All right. Yeah, good. So looks like they're focusing on what they're supposed to be focused on, which is making us money, which is what we want. All right, good. So that looks pretty good to me. I'm not going to go through the thing, but I like that's good. Let's look at BlackRock real quick, because let's see how much they've capitulated. Freaking scumbags! I despise these people. Despise with a passion. All right, so here we go. Let's see if they still got their stuff on sustainable investing right on the front page. Let's see. BlackRock. Why are you hiding, BlackRock? What are you hiding? Look at that. They've totally taken on their sustainable investing ESG stuff off the front page. It's down here someplace, I guarantee. Investment stewardship, corporate sustainability, the road to net zero. But I hate these guys. I heavily despise BlackRock. I don't trust them. And Larry Fink and those clowns, as far as I could kick them. We should tax the hell out of them. But be it as it may, they're getting the point. But still, dude, let's do about. Look at that. There's nothing here on DEI. They gotta have DEI on here. Let's take a look. All right. I mean, there's got to be DEI on it. I'll be stunned. Investment access, sustainable outcomes, inclusive. All right, well, I don't mind inclusive. I don't mind being inclusivity. That doesn't bother me. It's DEI, which is absolute anti-whiteism. That's just a fact. All right. Here's a guy here. Yeah, and I don't even mind this. People, that don't bother, like Thurgood Marshall College. I don't mind. That doesn't bother me in the least. And I don't mind having minority people on here. It doesn't bother. That doesn't bother me. The DEI is what I hate. Yeah, right there. Yes, they had some, but at least it's not nearly as high as it was. All right, so let me show you something else here that made me very happy. All right, so we're gonna go to, and we'll get in the comments here in just your questions here in just a second. The ESG Cover Your Ass tour begins as managers scramble to remove references and pitch decks. It's bad enough for asset managers that ESG stocks and funds are getting pummeled while people look for flights to actual safety as opposed to unprofitable publicly traded trash with a shiny green energy approved label. But now these same managers are being forced to bury their heads in the sand to try to sidestep the political scrutiny over their poor investing decisions. Who could have thought that investing would actually have to turn out to be risk aversion and companies actually generating cash? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say investing is about making the most dollars for the least amount of risk you're willing to take. That's it. That's it. It's not stakeholder capitalism, freaking idiot. Not you guys, Klaus Schwab and all these idiots. It's about absolute capitalism. I want money to grow with as least risk as possible. When you're adding DEI clowns and freaking woke diversity hires, you're making my risk heavier and you're decreasing my rate of return. So instead of increasing my profitability with manageable risk, you're increasing my risk and decreasing my profitability. I don't have the kind of money to watch my money and go to some woke clowns out there. You don't either. If you did, you certainly wouldn't be watching me, your old buddy Josh, with his t-shirt that's actually inside out. Like, hell no, this guy's a nut. I got to talk to Bill Gates. I got to talk to Hillary and cattle futures. He'll tell you, she'll steer you right. Or Nancy Pelosi. Fund managers are now doing damage control for their ESG pitches of years past. Bloomberg wrote 11 major banks and money managers told Bloomberg News that they're adjusting the language they use in their marketing materials when seeking to sell funds and take part in financial deals. In some cases, this means avoiding using the ESG acronym in related terms of Republican-led states, while for blue states, they're playing up their ESG credentials. Freaking scumbags, dude. These are some evil, freaking sick people. They're chameleons. You know who else was a chameleon? I don't want to say it. If you look at the good book, there's another guy who else was a chameleon. If I have to be a chameleon to bring people to the gospel, I will, says some guy, which I won't say more. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sit too kindly with me there, guy. I'll be a chameleon if that's what it takes to bring people to the gospel. Yeah. In other words, they're covering up their idiotic investment strategies of years past, where they pick companies from a list of Greta Thunberg approved entities, many of whom still use questionable labor tactics and have little governance, or just get on an airplane. Again, I mean, that's the whole point. You can't get on an airplane and say you're green. Calling the change a high wire act, Bloomberg writes it also reflects the dramatic polarization of the $8.4 trillion ESG market, with Republicans firing broadsides at anything connected with pursuing an environmental, social, or good governance goals. And here we are. Here's Republican actions restricting use of even New Hampshire. Look at that. That clown up there, that stupid idiot who's governor, Sununu, young Sununu, just another political dynasty, dude. So embarrassing. That guy's a clown. Do not get suckered into freaking young Sununu in the primaries. It's literally Trump or bust, dude, at this stage. It's literally no other way around. It's Trump or bust. And literally that means if Trump doesn't win the nomination, I don't know how you can vote Republican for the president. I'll still vote in the Senate. We don't have a Senate race in 2024 here in Georgia. But, you know, the House, I'll still vote for, who's my guy? McCormick is my guy. Dr. McCormick, who's pretty good, I think. At least he is now until he gets bought in by D.C. But I'll vote for George Santos. I'll write George Santos in. But none of these other Republicans, they all suck. So I won't vote for any of them other than Trump. It's Trump or bust, dude. That's all there is to it. Anyway, so here we got the pink, actions restricting use of ESG factors. So here we are in Georgia. But here's what I like, actions targeting entities boycotting certain industries. Yeah. Oh, even PA. Look at West Virginia crushing. Texas, Oklahoma. Look at Alabama, because stupid Faye James, whatever that stupid chick's name is. She's like, all the normal people are getting jabbed. You don't want to be unnormal, do you? Freaking idiot. Anyway, so look at here. So we got a couple of states, idiots, still promoting ESG, actions promoting ESG, actions neutral on ESG, which is none of them. Actions promoting divestment from certain industries, which is blue. So there'd be fossil fuels, and they can all suck. They all kiss my big fat behind. And no one wants to live in any of these places anyway. So we like the orange, and we like the yellow. Well, I guess the orange and the pink. Look at it. Oh, dude. Florida Governor DeSantis has been one of the outspoken voices delivering the much-needed reality check. Look, I love DeSantis as a governor, 100%. I don't want him as a president. There's that freaking chick who killed those people at the Christian school because they're threatening my life as a transgender person. Yeah, you probably don't want to kill people. I know, just something, you probably don't want to kill people. Especially when there's something going on in that noggin of yours. You probably need help with that, actually. Because something ain't right. I'll just leave it at that. All right. Because the managers have become coy about referring to their climate goals to U.S. clients, Arthur Krebers, who runs ESG Capital Markets, told Bloomberg the term ESG has just become too politicized. This guy from Viking Funds removed the ESG label from a $72 million social responsible investing fund. Yeah, so we don't want to invest in Integrity Viking Funds just because they removed the ESG label, but they're still socially responsible, whatever the hell that means. Bloomberg highlighted the cover-ups in the U.S. An asset manager in San Francisco who asked not to be named said he started to reward the emails he sends to his clients. Before ESG became a punching bag for Republicans as firms discuss environmental issues associated with their investments. Now emails are focused on navigating the financial markets like we would think you should do. ESG research firm Udall said the first rule of ESG is don't talk about ESG. Recall just days ago about a deluge of outflows from one of the largest ESG. Look at that, dude. I can't see how much that is. ETF expert wrote last week that ESGU ETF saw a 4 billion in outflows, followed by another 1 billion on Monday. 5 billion in outflows, and was that like a week? That makes my freaking. You can read Bloomberg's full ESG postmortem here. So that, again, the point being, this is our money. We don't want them wasting our money on their political freaking trying to get in, the cocktails in Washington, D.C. Now, you can do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. But I can't have that. And so we have to find an alternative to Wellington. So let me show. We're going to try something else here. So now let's go to, I was good right here. Share screen 1 second. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to VTV. What do I want to do here? Oh, right here. Okay, here we go. Hold on a second. I want to go to VTV and VF. Oh, there we go. VTV. We'll just do Fitty Fitty. VTV and Ginnie Mae. We're going to backdate that. All right. And we will rebalance annually. All right. There we go. So that's our portfolio 3. So let's see. Okay, it was VUVSX. Is that what it was? The Vanguard VUSVX. The VTF doesn't go back long enough. It was the ticker symbol for the Vanguard Value Index, the mutual fund. Vanguard Large Cap Value Index Fund is VUVSX, I thought. VIVAX. 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 There we go. So let's see what this guy did. We are what portfolio are we? So here's what is that again? That's Wellesley. Yeah, so that that's still. I mean, taking 5% a year out, portfolio 3 is right here in the orange. So VIV, yeah. And Wellesley still smoked us. No, I mean, look at that. The Wellesley smoked us. No other way around that. We got smoked right there, man. Yeah. So what we want is we want to find something that's comparable to Wellesley Fund. I thought that might do better. That's 50-50. Let's take a look at the risk return. Worst year. Yeah. Okay. Much higher on the downside. Much higher in the drawdown, much higher in the standard deviation. Didn't do as well. See, that's so I wonder if we did. Well, Wellesley's 40-60, so let's make this 40-60. And probably the Ginnie Mae is probably hurting us too because it's it's just government bonds. But let's just run with this real quick. Hold on just a second. It's there we go, 40-60. Yeah, it still doesn't look good. All right. So that doesn't look good either relative to Wellesley Fund. All right, so Wellesley is our kind of proxy for the time being, just because it did just as well as Wellington, and yet had not nearly much of the downside risk. So I wonder if we change out the Ginnie Mae, VBMFX, is that? Yeah, right here, VBMFX. Let's do that instead, and let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's still not good. All right. Yeah, so we're still well behind. So we got to find something that's comparable to Wellesley. And I don't know what that is off the top of my head. I just don't. And something that's, because again, Wellesley is in Wellington. Wellington manages Wellesley. And I mean, again, I don't trust that this portfolio that we saw for the last 20 odd years is going to be the same because of what they've done with their management. I just don't. If the corporate is a different company, I mean, there's no other way around that, and you can't deny that. So if it's a different company, what does that mean? Well, we can't rest on these laurels. I'm okay with portfolio 3 here. Yeah, and that's a 5% distribution amount. 23 years in, we still made money, but that's still we're getting starting to get a little bit low. Now we only have 7 years left before we're dead. It's a 30-year retirement, and that would be pretty sufficient. But I still like to see it above where we started. Now, if you go back to the staying 4,500 or so, I don't want to do that though. I like 5% a year. And if we actually do 5% a year, we draw a fixed percent, 5% a year. You can do 6% a year. You do whatever you want. This will be fine. You'll show you because it's impossible to run out of money at 5% a year. You just can't because you're taking 5% of whatever the portfolio is valued at. And so here we're probably well ahead of where we were. Yeah. So here we are right there. 5%. Yeah, this gives a lot more in range with the Wellesley fund. But again, we haven't taken as much out. We're just taking 5% a year of whatever the portfolio was the previous year. December 31st, 2021, it was worth $100,000. We take 5,000 out. December 31st, 2022 is worth $200,000. We take $10,000 out. That's all there is to it. December 31st, 2009 is worth $60,000. We take 3,000 out. That's how it works. So there's a lot more volatility on your expenditure pattern. All right. So I don't have an answer there. So we have to look at it. Let's look at Dodge and Cox. I am interested in Dodge and I don't think it's going to do nearly as well. Cox. Let's do Dodge and Cox. How far back does it balance? Let's do the income fund. There we go. James asked about, I think it was Dodge and Cox. I can't remember which one. Let's do the income fund. Yeah. Yeah. So that did okay. That did okay. Oh, that's hold on a second. That's what we have to contend with. Yeah, so here we are right here. And see, it's still quite a big gap between Wellesley and Dodge and Cox. So Dodge and Cox. I don't know how far back this goes back. Okay. Oh, yeah. Ooh, all right. Dodge and Cox Balance Fund. Interesting. Interesting. Dodge and Cox Balance Fund. Oh, so it must be all stocks. Yeah. Dodge Cox Balance Fund's got to be all stocks. How's that balanced? Mm. 12%. Yeah, it's about 80, 75, 25. Yeah, I don't like 1 second. Yeah, US stocks, international, that's 65% there. It's like 65. Huh. That looks bad. That's 65, right? 51, 65, 23% US bonds, 6% international bonds. I don't know what other is. Cash. That doesn't look nearly as aggressive as this chart looked right here. You got short-term treasuries 12, long-term treasuries 12, 24%. You got what was that 60%, 63. So I don't know, something's off there. But I mean, either way, you know it's got to be aggressive because you can see right here. I'll show you. Oops, I can go back here. 1 second. Right here, worst down here, 33.57. I mean, that's worse than Wellington, even Wellington, by far. Just look at Fidelity Balance Fund again. That right there is SP 500, Jeremy, FSKAX. So the balance fund is going to be up here. But again, I think the balance fund had a lot more down. Yeah, look at that. Worst year, 31%. See, so Wellesley did something to avoid all that in 2008, and that's what we're trying to avoid. I don't know. Something to think about. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. I'm going. I missed a lot of comments, man. So missed a lot of comments. Yeah, right there, man. Yeah, but I like municipal bonds, but we're talking mostly about retirement portfolios, which will be mostly in 401ks and whatnot. But the municipal bonds, I like them. The issue is how much you have in a brokerage account in municipal bonds. I have a lot. I don't know, but we can look at US ATX. So let's take a look at US ATX. That's my favorite municipal. I haven't looked at it in a long time, guys, but the USA Intermediate Municipal Bond Fund is always my favorite for a long, long time. I haven't looked at it in a long time, just FYI. Yeah, and that guy. But wait, which one was that? Which portfolio? I forgot. It's portfolio 3. So portfolio 3 is down to. I mean, still though, when you think about it, this is a municipal bond fund, USATX. All right. It has going to inherently have lower yields than the total bond index because it's municipal bonds because you don't pay tax on it. But after 23 years of pulling 5,000 out, adjusted for inflation each and every year, look at that. It's still sitting on $35,000. Ooh, so I tell you what, man, let's try. Let's try something there. Let's try something there. Who asked me about municipal bond funds? That was Rick W, I think. Ooh, let's try this. VIBAX. We're going to try something, Rick. We're going to do 60, 40. The Vanguard large cap value and the USA intermediate tax exempt. Let's take a look, compare what that did at Wellesley. There's portfolio 2. Again, tax exempt, you got to be, just not the same, man. Crazy how good Wellesley. I mean, it's amazing to me. I haven't looked at any similar funds to Wellesley. I just haven't. But so Jeremy wants to look at VTI, VFINX versus VTSMX. Do a comparison shop here. This is just total stock versus S&P 500, and we'll see here. It should be pretty cool. They should. So we know that S&P 500 ran out of money. VTS. So basically, the total stock index was 10,000 at 10,000 more than the S&P 500. They're basically the same fund essentially. So there's a little bit more in the total stock, but not much. Yes, exactly. The municipal bonds have implications. PRSIX. All right, let's take a look what that is. Because they do go into your MAGI, your modified adjusted gross income. PRSIX. Conservative. All right. Again, just so you know what we're doing. We're pulling 5,000 a year out each and every year, adjusted for inflation. I'm not saying that's what you're going to do, but I like that. It's kind of like the baseline for, I hate to say worst case scenario, but to make people say, if I can survive that, we're pretty good shape. And Wellesley survived it with flying colors. Ooh, there we go, James. And James. That's interesting. All right, so here we are up here, man. That's interesting. So how are we? Not bad for worst year. So like a Welling ish kind of fun right there. Hmm. Standard deviation a little bit higher than Wellesley. Not bad for the worst year. I mean, it's twice that of the Wellesley. How is this guy broken down here? I never heard that one. What's it called? Spectrum something? Spectrum conservative allocation. Where's the metrics thing? Right there. Oh, exposures. There we go. So 37% short-term oh, I like all those short-term treasuries, man. That makes me that makes my heart a flutter. That's good looking fun, James. Big fan. 37% short-term treasuries, but they got the large cap growth. See the difference? Large cap growth and large cap value. See, they're trying to offset their significant stake in treasuries with growth stocks. I just like value, but either way, all right. I mean, I'm cool with that, but that's interesting. Yeah, that was pretty good to me, James. You own that fund? That yeah, T. Rowe Price fund. VEXRX. What's that? That's a Vanguard fund. You know what that is? VEXRX. Let's just take a gander. Get rid of this total stock index. VEXRX. Explorer fund. I can't imagine that's done anything. I don't think I shouldn't say I haven't looked at Explorer fund in a long time. In a long time. It only goes back to 2002. Whoa, wait a second. Well, see, but look, you're getting that worst year is 40%, man. So, see, I'm trying to get away from the worst years like that. So that's the issue. What's the Star Fund? Anyone remember the Vanguard Star Fund is? Vanguard Star. There, right there. I haven't looked at Star Fund in freaking years and years and years and years. Take a look at Star Fund. Old, reliable Star Fund. Very boring. Oof, even the Star Fund got smoked. Wow. Yeah, I like James's one instead. It's interesting. I mean, I like gold and silver, Kim. Absolutely. I did a video on that. No, I think the markets, Kim, are just I the issue is I just don't expect the stock market to give us rates of return that we've been sort of accustomed to since basically, since the after World War II. And I get people want to look back and say historically this, that, and the other, but I'm like, there's a time that America was very entrepreneurial in some regard. You could actually do stuff without having 8,000 people breathing down your neck. Not all the. I mean, look, I'm not saying that the '50s were better, but there was a time where there's less regulation. That's a fact. Now it's heavy regulated. It's heavy in terms of lawsuit potential. It's heavy in terms of the paperwork you have to go through, and it's just and then you got to have all the corporate governance, the people saying he sued me for discrimination or he called me honey. I mean, it's all that crap that goes with it. On top of that, the days of the easy money for globalization are behind us, man. I mean, that's the thing is the globalization that we're able to, use to. So this is what my whole book is about: is that we basically exported our inflation. This is what drives me crazy when people say inflation. It's like we exported that by buying cheap goods. There's no two ways around that, and I'll prove it in my book. And I work on about an hour a day. It's just every time I reread it, I correct it, I change it. That's the problem with writing a book is every time you're like, oh man, and then you're like, oh, now I got to read the whole thing again, make sure it flows. It sucks. But the inflation, everyone's, we exported it all, man. There's no other way around that. Except for services. We exported all our goods inflation. Services we can't export. So essentially, we can't import that. If we export our inflation, we import cheap stuff. We can't import cheap services. We can only get so many Haitian nurses here, for instance. We can only get so many, low cost Guatemalan roofers and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we still need a real live guy to do our plumbing, a real live guy to do our doctor work and all that stuff. If you go to the doctor and all that, you still need real live engineers, real live people to build bridges. You can't just have illegal immigrants or people because they're from India and they'll only charge you 10 cents on the dollar. You can't do that. You still have to pay wages for these people. These are services. We can't import cheap services. We can import cheap goods, which is exactly what we've done. And if you actually look, the number of services we've actually imported has stayed flat from the 50s. The number of goods we've imported has gone up 600% from the 50s. Goods are toasters, microwave ovens, cars, all that stuff. Services are, what I do for a living, what the plumber does, what the doctors do, what the engineers do. You can't import that stuff cheaply. So we're paying for the American wages on services, which has made those be quite inflationary for sure. And then with the extra regulation, all that stuff thrown in. So the issue that my mind is that we don't have the ability to have the massive earnings growth that we used to have. Now we do have some opportunity with things like AI. The problem with AI and this, basically just any kind of machines is that you're also going to limit your employees, which limits your labor costs. 100%. Labor is the biggest cost to a business without question. The problem, though, is that the people who would normally buy your goods are those same employees who no longer have jobs, which means they don't have the cash to buy your goods, if that makes sense. So it's a kind of double-edged sword. You're like, hey, I'm going to cut back on I just did a video when I was on my walk before I did this live stream, about the new AI text to video. It's going to take out a lot of copyright editors, a lot of video people. It's not going to need it. You don't need them anymore. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's crazy. And as such, these people aren't going to have jobs. And these people don't have an income because they don't have jobs, which means they don't have the income to buy the products that are going to be on for sale, if that makes sense. So it's a double-edged sword, man. You want to inflate. I mean, you want to cut back on your labor costs, because that is your biggest source of your cost of goods sold. Labor is the biggest one by far. Well, if you cut back on your labor costs, that's great from a profit margin. But then those people who would normally be the people who buy your goods, they don't have any income. Now this is where the Democrats are idiots. They say this is a fixed pie. That's not what we say in the capitalistic realm. We say the pie is always growing, or could grow, I should say. If the government gets out of the way, the pie could grow, which means I get laid off from my crappy job as a content editor, copyright editor. I go create my own content. I do my own movie studio. I do my own book writing. I do my own, whatever it is. I don't care. Freaking CNC, machinery stuff. I do my own, anything. I do my own thing. I create my own demand, essentially, if that makes sense. And so I get paid for my quality over and above what these other guys are doing. Now, again, it's not easy. It's tough. There's a reason why the Luddites had, some exposure, because people say, no, I like the old ways. I was comfortable with it. The new ways are always scary, but it's coming regardless of what we want or not. And that's going to open up opportunity, but it's going to create, bad things as well. So either way, what I'm saying is at the end of the day, I just don't think there's enough disposable income anymore to get the level of profit margins on the equity markets that we've accustomed to, which is why now we're getting paid, decently for sitting in cash and sitting in short-term bonds and certificates of deposits and even fixed annuities. That's why I'm big on these things, because it eliminates the downside risk. The downside risk of bonds is behind us. I'm just sorry. That downside risk is no longer here. So now we're getting 4 and 4.5%, high quality corporate bonds, for instance, to sit idly and see how the markets perform while the costs are going up. The labor costs are going up, because there's just not enough labor out there. And as such, the corporate profits go down. In the interim, while the corporate profits go down, the dividends start getting cut, or they don't get growing as much and all this stuff, which means the stock market just doesn't look as good. Again, it's always, what is my alternative? Well, if my alternative is 1% money on $100,000, and I have to pay taxes, ordinary income on that, well, hell's bells. I might as well just put in the market and hope for the best. Well, now the alternative is 4% on safe money, and I still got to pay tax on 4%, but I'm actually netting 3.5, whereas before I was netting 1.5. You see what I'm saying? So now it's like, I can hang on 3.5 I can hang on 3.5, especially while the corporate profit margins are not very high. The dividend rates are still way low. Where's the profits going to come? The PE ratios are still pretty high. So where is the growth in the stocks coming? Increasing growth, i.e., from increasing earnings? How? AI? Okay. I mean, I get there could be some legitimacy to that, but again, you can't AI everything. You can't machine everything. Now, I'm telling you, there is value added to that in machineries and AI. So I get it, man. But at some point, with just like globalization, those profit margins can be squeezed too tightly, and so you're like, okay, we took advantage of that, but we still need people, and we still need consumers, and where the consumers get their money from, all their work. So anyway, that's the issue we have to deal with. Now we can't the exportation of our inflation, the cheap labor coming across, all that stuff. Those days are coming to an end, man. And not that America is no longer the beacon of freedom it used to be. It's just not. I was listening to a guy on the Crow's podcast today or 2 days ago. Crow 777, CRROW 777. He's a Chinese alternative medicine practitioner. He said, man, he's from the West. He goes, anytime I set up a shop, I get hounded by the authorities in the West because I wasn't following, was it allopathic medicine or something like that, the Western medicine. I go to China, they leave me alone, man, because China, has been around for centuries upon centuries using alternative medicine. They don't bother me. He has other issues, in terms of his ability to speak his mind on the internet, stuff like that. But he says not nearly. People think Chinese like this commie state, where it's like freaking, East Germany. It's not like that at all. He goes, I'm freer here in China to practice my profession than I ever was in the West. And as such, that's, that just shows you, man, where the West is not open to business like it used to be. It's just not. And so where's the growth come from? I don't know. And so we don't know. And then we're sitting on the sideline saying, well, I can hang out on the sideline, get 3.5, 4.5% on safer stuff. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. All right. Let's see. Yeah, this is 100%, man. Avoid debt and live frugally, and you won't have to chase returns. I completely agree. Completely agree. Right, my man says, get on a metal detector group and have one of the guys come find your ring, trade your services. No way. There's a metal detector app on your phone, Andrew? That's crazy. Yeah, dirt 100%. Dirt work will never be AI. I completely agree. Yeah. 100%. So where I'm going with this, though, is I'm not trying to. One of the reasons I like the biblically responsible funds is because the biblically responsible funds, oops, nothing comes for free now. You know what I'm saying? So if there's an ETF, and I think there are starting to be some ETFs on biblically responsible, but you're also hiring a group who's managing your money to represent. That's where I was going with this. Vanguard, they're getting, when you're buying the index, you're allowing Vanguard to vote your proxies. And Vanguard will consolidate your proxies, and they'll consolidate that guy's proxies. They'll consolidate that guy's proxies, and they'll vote according to what Vanguard wants. And what Vanguard wants might not be what you want. You see what I'm saying? And that's a drawback about index funds. Fidelity index funds, the same thing. They're voting the proxies on your behalf. And as such, they're going to vote whatever they feel right, what they want to do. And if you go to one of these firms that are biblically responsible, or at least just conservative, it doesn't have to be biblically responsible so much, but I don't want to invest in pornography companies and, companies that are, living well on people being sick. I don't want to invest in that crap. As gambling companies, I don't want to do that. So if you go to one of these biblically responsible companies, you're saying, I'm putting my money with them, and they will vote according to my values as a Christian or Muslim or Jew or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And I think that has a lot more staying power, because you and Jeff and Baz and Andrew together are forming one voice, which will be heard. That's why I like Black Lives Matter, and these guys are heard, because they're loud enough. They have a big enough group behind them who are very loud. They're not very many, but they're loud. We're here, we're queer, we're proud. We're here, we're queer, we're in your face. Remember Rush Limbaugh used to do that? We're here, We're queer. We're in your face. So funny, dude. And people don't want to deal with loud people, dude. And that's why they capitulate to Black Lives Matter. It's like, just leave me alone. Here's 20 million bucks. Just get out of my face. You see what I'm saying? But they know that that doesn't stop. It pushes them away for a little bit, but it always comes like an itch, dude. You got to itch. You itch it a little bit, it goes away, and then it comes back harder. And so Black Lives Matter, and Al Sharptons, the race hustlers of the world, they say, oh man, if we can get them to give us 20 million bucks with 500 loud, freaking people that we can pay 15 bucks an hour to just protest who don't know what the hell's going on. Imagine what we can do when we get 500 more. We'll give 40 million bucks, and Al Sharpton be living large. That big-headed Al Sharpton. And anyway, so it's just a matter. So same thing here. It's like the reason ESG and DEI taken off because there was no pushback because they're just loud and proud and in your face. We're here. We're queer. We're in your face. And people are like, oh, I'm just trying to work. Okay, I'll put your freaking diversity hire in, freaking some stupid point over here where it doesn't affect the bottom line. But then the diversity hire say, hey, I want an impact on affecting the bottom line. You're like, oh, all right, I'll give you the head of HR so you can only hire non-white Republicans. Okay. And then you're like, so then your labor force starts to shrink and your level of competence starts to shrink. You're like, oh, then they start saying, no, I want to manage money. Okay, we'll put you over here to our ESG fund and just shut the hell up. No, I want to manage Wellington. You're like, oh, right, you're in charge of Wellington. Just shut the hell up. And next thing you know, Wellington goes, yoops, kaboom. You're like, we're all out. But they all get back. They all get bailed out because it wasn't my fault. It was racism because Josh is racist. Some guy was actually accusing me of being anti-Polish on here the other day. So I said a guy from some Polish guy promoted Einstein. The Polish guy was Stanislaus Luria. And no one ever heard of Stanislaus Luria. But he was the guy who promoted Einstein, who said he's a Nez Copernicus. I was like, where the hell did this guy come from? It basically told Max Born about Einstein. Let's just put it this way. There's a lot of similarities between Einstein, Max Born, and Stanislaw Luria, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to say much more than that. A lot of similarities there. And you're like, that's weird. Same group preference. And I got no qualm with same group preference. I wish Christians would be more same group preference oriented. Would be great. The Jews do it great. Jews freaking kick ass in that regard. They say, no, we're taking care of the tribe. Why don't Christians do that? Because we like to save the extra penny. We always get accused the Jews of being like that, where we're the biggest. I want to save the extra penny. Like, so you don't want to pay more for a guy that's your fellow tribesman? No. If I can get some guy to save me an extra penny. So it's weird how the Jews get accused of things that we ourselves do. It's Christians. No, you got to save the extra penny. Okay. Why? Well, because then I have more money for myself. Freaking idiots. Yeah. Ooh, look at that. That's a good, right there, Kim. Good insight. In Kern County, California, the government's going to issue fewer and fewer building permits. Yeah. So if you own rental properties, you're going to have. You limit supply, increase your demand. What happens? Limit supply, increase demand. What happens to price? It goes up. Paul Harvey, yeah, dude. We're fierce, we're feminine, and we're in your face. Your phone uses magnetic. That's crazy. Well, I know for compass, I know how to metal detector thing in there. Yeah, 100%. Right here. America needs to move its greatest minds from creating financial instruments to generating wealth. I could not agree more, 100%. Because it's all paper pushing now, dude. And the paper pushing doesn't do anybody any good. I could not agree more. I got an iPhone. Yeah, me too, James. Yeah. And we've friggin' jumped the shark with antagonizing China and Russia. How dare you say that? How dare you? I literally, what happened? Did not people not remember Lindsey Graham and John McCain and Joe Biden and Hillary and all these people in Ukraine? Do people not remember all this? It's weird to me. America in of itself isn't bad. It's the people running the show. Both the Democrats and Republicans are scumbags. And the people running the show antagonize Russia. So you're saying America invaded Ukraine? Ooh, I'm saying America invited freaking Russia to do it by saying, going against what James Baker said, which will never expand eastward. And yet we expanded eastward and we're being belligerent doing it. And we're putting missiles up there and stuff. It's just the weird. You know what we need again? America. And then we got people being killed in Syria. What the hell are we doing in Syria? What the hell are we doing in Syria, man? We shouldn't be in Syria. You created 100%. Love your country, hate your government. Exactly. What are we doing in Syria? I was like, so we got a guy killed in Syria. Like, oh, we got to take action now. Against who? Assad? What is this? Yeah, I saw that. You didn't want to talk about the people who got killed in Tennessee, scumbag. I don't want Snippy Joe. If I got killed, I don't want Snippy Joe to mention my name anyway. All right, my friends, what else you got on your minds here? Heard you're anti-cat. Wife is. She allergic. All right. We're here. We're queer. We're in your face. Paul Harvey signed a 10-year contract late in life, about 85 years old. Was he being optimistic or foolish? Well, he got the money, right, Mark? Yeah, we're in Haiti. We've brutalized Haiti. I mean, we just absolutely devastated Haiti. Yeah, exactly. What's if that Kim? If you're saying rains as in raisin, Kim, you know I love you, Kim. Very happy that you're married to your beau there. However, if you say that you heard I love chocolate chip raisin oatmeal cookies, you are this close to being banned for life because that's freaking disgusting. Disgusting. Ruining chocolate chip oatmeal cookies with raisins. Now that's commie crap, Kim. How dare you? How diddly double dog dare you? That's disgusting. Oh, if you like raisin cookies, just say put a 1 if you like raisin cookies and a 2 if you're normal person and you hate them because they taste like crap and you're not a commie. So put a 1 if you like raisin cookies, which and 80s music. Right on, Harry. Right on. You gotta start banning people. I just want to see number ones. All right, good. We're gonna track the ban. This is exactly what they're doing to us when it came to COVID. They're tracking us who stood up against the tyranny. They're tracking us. So if you got a 1 on here, you're being banned. Harry, banned, gone for life. Harry, Kim, gone for life. Right, we got some other people. Oatmeal are good, but not with raisins. Raisins burn as well. Yes, exactly. Good. Carl, I would have thought you would have been a big raisin fan. Harry, you actually like raisin? Oh God, Harry, what happened to you, man? And this guy's accusing me of changing. Harry used to be all right. Now he's see what happened is I make a ratting. What the hell's that? There's Kelly. Look at Kelly crushing. Raisins are politically correct. So here's what happened to Harry. Harry buys all these annuities. He totally doesn't have any worry about the markets anymore. He goes to sleep at night, and now he changes. He becomes he became King old, and now he's like, I can have raisin cookies now because I have no fear in the world. Even if Josh bans, it doesn't matter. I got no fear. Oh, dude. On Rumble, we got Jeremy and cracking Ed's tweet like raisin cookies too, and Jeremy loves it. How dare you? If this is who I think it is, hope you got my email, but how dare you? Elizabeth, yes, I knew Elizabeth. Elizabeth's the one who told us about the Baron. We got to look this up real quick. Oh man, I just freaking love this audience. It just makes me so happy. I can't tell you how much good stuff. Like I never knew there would be a freaking metal detector after my phone. Barron Trump. So check this out, dude. So I'm just sitting there minding my own business the other day. I banned Andrew dude. That's exactly right, dude. Quinn, you're right. I'm glad you freaking. Oh, races are transgender. Oh my goodness, races are trans. Actually, YouTube boys will get along. So Chris emails me the other day or put a comment like, "I'm getting out here, getting my pale white skin, my beautiful pale white skin tan because it's 70 degrees in the sun down here in Georgia." And Chris is like, he said he's watching his daughter play softball. And it's getting snow. I was like, man, dude. Um, raisins are freaking nasty. Anyway, so check this out. This is crazy. I haven't read it yet, but Elizabeth is one who told me, just mind my own business. The travels and adventures of little Baron Trump. Baron Trump, his wonderful dog Bulger. The Baron Trump collection. And this is written like in 1890. 1890 Baron Trump, dude, travels. And I think he becomes president or something like that. I haven't read it yet. Right, Elizabeth? He becomes like president or something. It's crazy. Don't look up the South Park Raisins episode. I can't remember that off the top of my head. It's nuts. He becomes like president or something like that. I can't remember. And so like Trump, like what the hell is happening? You know what I'm saying? It's like with Trump, you're like, dude, that guy like goes back in time or something like that. I'm crushing right on. Look at Alan. Look at Alan coming to the show. Right on. And I mean, let's look at some of his comments. This is nuts, man. In the 1890s, Ingersoll Lockwood authorized the Baron Trump novels. The series followed a literary which a child protagonist adventuring to Chamberlain, blah, 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 blah. Baron is an aristocratic youth bored with life and luxury in Castle Trump. What? Searching for adventure, he travels to Russia to discover an underground world beneath his feet. He journeys downward and finds himself lost in peculiar settings. Sounds pretty interesting. The Baron Trump novels were obscured by the more successful children's book of the time. Dude, that's freaking nuts, man. Baron Trump is enjoying considerable interest and success. It's almost like, is history what we think it is? Dude, I can do chocolate chip cookies. Oh my goodness. Yeah, hey, right, I was saying, look at Brad hitting on the head. Raisin cookies are fine if that's what you expect. But if you thought it was going to be chocolate chip, then that's 100%. That's probably what happened to me because we didn't have any sugar or anything growing up very much. I imagine someone brought some raisin cookies. They looked like chocolate chip. I was about to freaking destroy them all. And I took a bite. It's like, oh, Baron Trump should play basketball. Why, is he tall? Oh, dude. I just like, oh, Andrew, you're like, oh, man. Andrew and Harry and Kim, you guys are really disappointing. I'm really disappointed, you guys. What happened? What happened out there? Well, so Andrew's in Ohio, Kim's in California, Harry's in Oklahoma. He's tall. Because Melania, right? Melania. Oh my goodness. Have you guys seen the videos of Michelle Obama looking like a man? It's funny. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna play it, but it's funny. Like maybe that she really was a dude. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. All right, good job, Andrew. Quinn's in Grayville, PA. Right on. I love grapefruit. Yeah, right. I'm saying. But anyway, so Michelle Obama, and then Monster Cookies. What the hell is that? North Jersey checking in. You mean she's not? Oh my goodness, that's 80s music sucks. What do I mean looking like a man? Look at that, oh man, look, you guys, Baron is 6'3", and he's probably Baron's 6'8". Freaka. Oh, Fresca. I love Fresca, right? I love Fresca, dude. Oh my. Yeah, 100%, man. Crazy. It's just funny. So this guy did a video where like Michelle Obama with her dong or so. Oh, it is funny. I was laughing my ass off. I was like, holy crap. It's just kind of funny. This trans force, cool to be trans. But how dare you? How dare you say that? That just shows how racist you are. My hair's sticking up. All right, I'm getting tired, man. I gotta wake up at 5. My kid's got a early track meeting. No baked cookies or no bakes. I love no bakes. Yes, exactly. Cracking Ed tweet on Rumble says Joan Rivers mentioned about Michael. Yes. Oh man, that's so funny. We are so screwed. Our Jefferson, Georgia. What the hell is that? Look at Mike. Look at Mike smiling with his mustache on. Look at Mike. Oh, you've seen that video? Oh my goodness. Yeah, Michelle. Yeah, exactly. Joan Rivers. We're so screwed, man. It's all there is to it. That's why you gotta enjoy it on the down. On the down, it's okay. It doesn't mean like today. I don't think it's gonna be, the Chinese are gonna stomp into DC. I think it's gonna be raw. We got a bunch of people that are gonna be sitting on their phones on their version of Sama, from Brave New World, and the rest of us three thinkers will be like, how can people not see the truth? And we just got to do our own thing. But I will tell you, going back to what we talked about here, the risk is high, and you're getting paid to sit idle on the side. That doesn't mean you put everything on the side. But just like I told Jeremy today, it's like if you got debt and the market tanks and the job tanks, your debt doesn't go away, regardless of your portfolio. Now, you can go bankrupt. I'm not going to yell at anybody for going back. Big Mike, exactly. Big Mike, 100%. Big Mike. Yeah, that's great. Anyway, I'm not going to yell at anyone for going bankrupt. I'm just saying at the end of the day, we don't want to go bankrupt. You know what I'm saying? That's not fun. And so if we can have enough on the safer aspect of it, regardless of what the performance of stocks have been since 1926, again, people, for some reason, they don't look back to 1913. Why is that? Because 1913 doesn't make the markets look as good as it did from 1920. It's cherry picking stuff. And we can always sit there, as a guy on my YouTube channel said, well, for 90 years, the markets have done this. So if we have average inflation like we had, and we have average returns like we had, like, dude, do you not hear yourself? Oh yeah, dude. We're sending look at Cassie Carlisle about Barrett. Who's Cassie? Ooh. All right, I have to check. Cassie. You can lose your health and job. Damn. Yeah, if you lose your health and job and your money at the same time, real quick, let's look at Cassie Carlisle on YouTube. Cassie. Look this up, Elizabeth. Cassie Carlisle. What the hell happened, man? I can't go to my regular account. All right, we're going to look it up anyway. Cassie Carlisle. All right, let's take a look. So we're going to share screen. So are Barron Trump and Donald Trump time travelers? So here's Cassie Carlisle. See if we can hear.
So I was going to tell a joke about time travel, but nobody laughed. Okay, that was not funny. Do not put that in, Cassie. Time travelers. This theory takes us back to the 1800s during the time of Ingersoll Lockwood. Lockwood was born in New York in 1841. He was a lawyer and a writer. He wrote a series of books including The Travel and Adventures of Little Baron Trump in 1893, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, about a boy named Trump who lives in Castle Trump. It is important to note that Baron was not the name of the boy, it was a title. By definition, a Baron is a member of the lowest manuscript written by a man named Don, who addresses himself as the master of all masters. The book talks about a portal in Russia that would lead to a world within a world. There's no map in this book. Baron is just supposed to go to Russia, and the people there are going to kind of drop hints about where he's supposed to go. So a side note that kind of freaks me out is the place that Baron is sent to in northern Russia could be very close to the western slope of the Ural Mountains in Russia that has underground caves and tunnels that weren't discovered till after Lockwood supposedly died. Nanostructures have also been discovered in the same area that point to like a mysterious or ancient civilization. Could these tunnels be the entrance to the parallel universe Lockwood wrote about? Also, this could be completely unrelated, but there was a book published in 1864 called The Journey to the Center of the Earth. You've all seen the movie in 2008 starring Josh Hutcherson. The book is about volcanic tubes that lead to the center of the Earth. Could these two authors be talking about?
So, Journey to the Center of the Earth. Who wrote that? That was Tesla connection. Yes. And didn't Trump's grandfather get Tesla's stuff? But Journey, wasn't that Jules Verne's? Who wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth? Jules Verne's? Yes. And guess who? Oh, dude. I got to show you guys this. All right, then I'm going to get out of here. This is nuts. All right, dude. This is crazy. Jules Verne, Aleister Crowley. All right, I'll go to full episode, find a show. And then the other guy's name was right here. It was JPL, Jack Parsons, right here. The founding of JPL and modern rocketry. All right, 1 second. I'm going to show this to you. Dude, this is crazy. All right, so hold on it's not going to see the whole. So Jules Verne, are you still on here, Alan? He might not be on here. Right here. JPL, which became part of NASA, is one of the foundations of modern rocketry, said to take people, payloads, and machines to space. Its current mission, mostly space machines, where are Anyway, it's just so we got JPL, Jet Propulsion Labs, which is Jack Parsons founded it, who was a big Jules Verne fan, who was a member who ran around with L. Ron Hubbard, and they all like Jules Verne stuff. It's crazy, but I'm the crazy one. Anyway, if you love, I don't know if Elizabeth's still on there, but if you like, I'd say conspiracy stuff, but conspiracy, but just deep thoughts on this. My man Crow, just that guy kicks ass. He's a conspiracy guy. I like it. It's fun. It's fun to listen to, but you can't listen to it just while you're, concentrating on other stuff, because that's what I always do. I'm like, all right, I'll be listening to Crow in the background. I'll start looking up stuff, and next I know, 20 minutes have gone by. I said, I don't think I heard a thing he just said. Yeah, Trump's uncle was in charge of Tesla's papers after he died. Yeah, it's crazy. No, I'm going to get out of here. I got to go. That's true. But anyway, I paid off my student loans this past February. I've had not debt. Look at my man. All right, so Jeremy, real quick. Jeremy has no debt. He just has bills. All right, so bills is different, because bills, you're going to have bills. There's no way around bills. So in that case, you can be you can be a lot more aggressive if you want. Thanks, York. I always forget York's first name. I like Jules Verne, but I didn't deny Christ over it. But if you have bills, that the debt, because the bills can be minimized. Basically, stuff to eat, to pay the freaking the utilities and whatnot and stuff. You don't need a whole lot of money to pay bills, but you do need a whole lot of money if you got debt, if that makes sense. And so if there's no debt, you can be a lot more aggressive. But I still think, man, look, in this day and age, Jeremy, I don't care for anybody, for young or old, the bond market, in my opinion, has more upside over the next year or two than the stock market does. Doesn't mean it'd be always like that, but I'm telling you, man, I could be wrong, but you're still getting 4% while I'm being wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Steve, right on, man. All right. God bless, guys. Appreciate y'all being here. This is fun. I enjoy this. We'll see you Wednesday at noon, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.